Hey, when we left, someone told me that life isn't easy, and us traveling, someone close to me, and us traveling like this wasn't going to be easy. And they were wondering if we were escaping something. Um, we were escaping, you know, I don't know. People run from things or whatever that they're afraid of or whatever. Um, we're running from monotony. I don't know if that's escaping something or running from something, um, but it definitely hasn't been easy. You leave your normalcy, you leave your friends, you leave your family, you leave, the bed that you've had for however many years, um, the vehicle that provided you transportation, um, you know, the normal day-to-day things that you're used to. You get out of that box of um, routine, and for some people it's really hard, and for some it's easy, and for us, we are driven by adventure. We're driven by change. While it's not easy, adapting to new places, to new people, to new food, um, and having kids, through all of this also hasn't been easy. And, having one kid, especially a 4-year-old that can talk and communicate, is, I don't know if it's easier than the baby, or baby's easier than Bob, than our 4-year-old Bob. But we had Bob in Jamaica with us, and that was hard because there were times in the beginning where we didn't know where or how we were gonna provide food for him, because we were in such a remote place, and he was used to eating a certain type of food, and he didn't want to eat certain things. I mean, they had apples there, but they were Jamaican apples, and they were apples that he had never seen or tasted before. He did like bananas, and he loved eating the bananas. So he'd eat like 10 or 12 bananas a day, which obviously is not a bad thing. Um, so, that was a struggle, and, adapting to that. We were very close to leaving, and then we came back to Texas so I could have the baby, but we were so ready to leave, as soon as the baby was born. Like, as soon as we left the hospital, that day we got online and filed for his birth certificate, or well, we did a birth certificate in the hospital, and oh dang, Bob just told me Ninja made it all the way up the stairs at the park, like the climbing stairs. He's insane. So anyways, back to what I was saying. It hasn't been easy, and that's not what we were looking for. We weren't looking for an escape for, an easy life. We're looking for adventure, for culture, and experience, and, exploration, and discovering things that we never discovered before together, all as one, as a family, as a unit. And, you think like, okay, so we're gonna up and leave this life that we have of 9 to 5. We barely saw Daniel. He was always working, Monday through Friday. He'd come home from work, and, he'd be on the phone or his emails. It was just nonstop, and it wouldn't stop at like 6 p.m. It would just keep going. You never knew, like, depending on if his jobs that he was managing were going on at night, or whatever. Even on the weekends, there were 1 or 2 months last year around this time of year where we didn't see him very often because he was also working weekends, at least 1 day a week in the office, and then he worked on the phone while he was home, or on the laptop. And while he made good money, we never saw him. You know, there were so many days that would go by where he would, he would get up, get ready for work, and Bob was asleep. And of course I was asleep too, but I said bye to him in the morning. Um, and then he'd come home. Because he came home so late, Bob would be asleep already. So there were days that would go by where he wouldn't see Bob, and it was just, our lives were dwindling. There was no meaning to our lives anymore. Bob and I would go out adventuring. We paddleboard in the summer, or when the water is warm enough for him to lay on the paddleboard or sit. So Bob and I would go out and do adventures together all the time, but it was rare when we did have Daniel with us, and it sucked. It was really hard. That was hard. That was really hard. And now we have him 24/7, and that part has been amazing. It's still not easy because, living with someone 24/7 is hard, but we love it. We enjoy it. From the moment we met, we told each other, through thick and thin, no matter what happens, we will always stand by each other. And it hasn't been easy. It's been hard. The baby has adapted well, thankfully. Obviously there's moments, all of the milestones that they meet throughout their little lives, it's not easy. We're going through teething right now. He's about to be 4 months on Monday. November 19th is when he turns 4 months, and he doesn't like to sleep. He hates sleeping, just like his brother, and it is not fun when I try to put him down. That's why he's in here in the carrier. He's sleeping right now. This is the only time he sleeps, mostly, except for at night. If it's dark, he'll sleep for like an hour maybe, and then I have to nurse him back to sleep again. But whatever. It's life. It's what you have to do for your kids, and it's so worth it to see them grow and expand their minds and not be so sheltered and in one little neighborhood or one school, or it's so amazing to see them grow. And I love that Bob is learning so much. His mind has expanded. He has no judgment towards others, whether they have an Xbox or a PlayStation or new shoes, or oh, their clothes look raggedy, or why does their house look like that, or why don't they have a car. His mind is so open at the age of 4 that he sees people for who they truly are. Like he sees their heart and he sees their soul, and it's such a beautiful thing. It's amazing. And I'm so incredibly grateful for the time that we've had here. And I know that our journeys, through our journeys, it will get easier, and it has gotten easier for adapting to new places. And where we go next will be even easier than this time was, and we're excited. So traveling with kids is not easy, but it's incredibly worth it.
So I want to talk for a second about having baby Kai. Baby Kai is now 3 months old, and we had him in Texas, and we hung around in Texas pretty much just long enough to be able to get his passport, and then we hit the road. And it's been interesting because obviously we have an older child, Bob, who's 4, that we raised kind of more traditionally. We had him in Charleston and lived in Charleston for most of his life. But with baby Kai and only being 3 months and us hitting the road and doing this full-time traveling thing, it's been such an interesting dynamic to just kind of think outside the box and look from a different perspective, and just stop for a second and think that it's been an incredible transition for us to be a part of. And it gets very overwhelming at times, and it's a challenge, but of course we feel that the overall reward in the end is going to be so much better for us, and that's part of the reason why we're on this journey. But it's been tough for all of us, not just us as parents. It's difficult having a second child and getting used to that in general, but then on top of that, we're doing it on the road. But also for Bob, because Bob is used to being the center of attention. He's used to, getting our undivided attention whenever we're not busy working or doing something else. Then, our time is always spent with our children, and now that's different, especially with, especially with the young newborn child. And so much of our time has to be dedicated to baby Kai, and it's a challenge for Bob, and he's doing so well with it. It is tough, and he's working, but it's such a beautiful thing that we are spending so much more time together as a family now, and we just are building bonds that would not have happened if we would stick to our conventional lives back in America. So such an interesting dynamic, difficult challenge, but so rewarding, such a beautiful thing. We never, even in doing this and stepping outside the box and kind of thinking from another perspective, never would I ever second guess our decision to be doing what we're doing. But it certainly is a challenge, but it's a challenge that we accept and we will take on full speed, and I think in the end it's all going to be worth it, and that's such a beautiful thing.